Number 2.
Please welcome Iga Swiatek.
And 6-time Grand Slam champion, Iga Swiatek. It's packed. Big fans of hers here in Wuhan as they get to see her for the first time. She's never played this tournament before, and so there's a lot of Iga Swiatek fans out there to cheer her on. And she looks to bounce back from what she would have seen as a little bit of a disappointing loss to Emma Navarro in Beijing. But when you factor in the second half of the year, there hasn't been too much disappointment for Swiatek. What a performance it was at Wimbledon, what a performance it was in Cincinnati. And can she go and pick up what she is hoping to be, would be a 12th WTA 1000 title. Starting her journey here in Wuhan. Jill Crevice alongside myself, Pete Rogers. Great to have you, but it's great to have Iga in Wuhan as well, and that's why we've got all these fans with their cameras out. First time they get to see one of our great champions of the sport.
Yeah, it's amazing actually that she has never played in this event before, and you're right, I think the audience, the people in Wuhan will be so happy to get a glimpse of her. She's, like you said, struggled I think a little bit in Beijing, but she's had such a fantastic summer. I think she's proud of the way that she really burst through at Wimbledon. That was something that she really wanted and cherished that title. Followed it up in Cincinnati, as you mentioned. So I feel like she's back into her own, playing some great tennis, but we know how tough a competitor Bouzkova is.
Certainly do. Who had a decent run in Beijing herself. Has moved up to 41 in the rankings now.
First of all, for me, the clocks are going to appear on the back fence there and on the back fence there. For the towels, when you reach the end of the side fences, you'll find the towel boxes. Inside, there's 2 colours. Blue. On this side, green. On this side, other than that, any questions? Green. Yeah. Any questions? No? Perfect. Ryan, I'm going to get you to toss the coin, asking Marie, heads or tails?
Heads.
Heads is the call. Yeah, up into the air and onto the ground. Perfect. And it is heads.
I'll receive.
Receive. Say, and finally, a photo in this direction.
So that was Bouzkova winning the toss and electing to receive first. I can just see, though, the memes being created by that coin toss, as in someone will have put in a cartoon tennis ball, because it looked like they were having a match, a ghosting match, a shadow match. Who won that first rally for you?
I don't know. I feel like Swiatek always looks super intense when she's doing the footwork, and you can just hear how fast her feet are. I don't even know if anyone could hear the instructions of what was happening, but
Bouzkova responding. She was doing a bit of it on her own. She's coming right back at her.
Yeah, she was. She wants to show she's ready as well.
So, you know, it was pretty one said all, we'll say, in the shadow match. But for the real match, we'll find out who comes out on top, as it is the Czech, as I say, now ranked 41 in the world, and has won a match already here. Got the better of Camila Osorio, 6-3, 6-4, and as I say, had a good run in Beijing. Did Bouzkova. Beat the likes of Tatiana Maria, Magdalene Net, and Veronika Kudermetova. Didn't drop a set against those players, and then lost an enthralling match to Jasmine Paolini. It was 6-2, 7-5, but it was a match that lasted over 2 hours, which is often the case with Bouzkova. I mean, she is incredible, isn't she? How she gets the ball back time and time again. It's a pretty flat ball as well, and has carved out a very good career for herself. As I say, career high of 24. What's she got to do today? Has she got to be more offensive today than what we often can see against Iga?
Yes, I agree with you completely. I think she needs to probably go after it a little bit more. I think she knows that because she relies so much on her movement. She moves so well around the baseline. She's very quick, gets a lot of balls back, and she can have some firepower behind her shots consistently, but it's got to maybe have that another level step up and take a little bit more risk, especially when she gets inside the court.
Incidentally, her record in Wuhan, she made the second round here in 2019, so already leveled her best. And as I said, making her debut this year is Swiatek. Of course, missed last year due to the drugs ban, but trying to chase down that top spot in the rankings once again. Currently ranked number 2 in the world, and as you said, it's almost been a season of 2 halves, hasn't it? I mean, I remember her, you know, saying in interviews as she's announced to this crowd, nice reception as ever, as in, she said, you know, she was being highly criticized for the start of the year, and yet was consistently making the semis of tournaments and whatnot. But to win at Wimbledon and then to win in Cincinnati, how will she assess the year overall?
I think recently she'll be happy with how she is. I think, or where she is, I should say. I agree with you. I think her season's actually been pretty good. We have to remember that she brought on a new coach as well in Wim Fissette, so that's always a new voice in your ear. You're working on things, you're trying new things, and sometimes they don't always come together right away. So you have to give yourself a little bit of leeway. You can see they've met only once before. That was at Roland Garros last year, where Swiatek came through in straight sets.
And I mentioned a moment ago, there's Thomas Sweeney, who's going to look after this one. As in that one previous meeting in Roland Garros, very different court surface here.
Yeah.
Swiatek had won Beijing previous time she played at 2023, and that's why I said she would have been a little disappointed with the loss to Emma Navarro. Made 70 unforced errors in that match. So from her perspective, two questions for you. Court surface here, is that going to suit Swiatek? How similar is it to Beijing? And two, is she going to rein it in after making all those unforced errors against another opponent who's great at getting the ball back?
I think if you think about the second question, can she rein it in? I think 100% she can. I think that's one of the best.
Or will she, though, in terms
I think, yes,
as a response to what happened against Navarro?
I think so, yes. Okay. I think she will. I think it's a little bit of a different opponent. I mean, they're both very consistent. If you take Navarro and Boskova, both very consistent, don't make a lot of errors. But I feel like Swiatek is the type, mentally she's so strong that I can't see her allowing herself to be not as sharp today, is what I'm thinking. I think she would have worked on things. I think mentally she would have bounced back. And a lot of it doesn't have to do with her tennis. It just has to do with how she's feeling about herself and how she's going to respond to maybe a match that she wasn't as pleased with.
And in terms of the court surface, as we see,
I think it's pretty similar. Yeah, I think it's pretty similar. All the surfaces, I think, in the Chinese events, I feel like are pretty similar.
Okay, so should suit her when you consider her record in Beijing, but playing for the first time here in Wuhan. Well, the one advantage, maybe more than just the one, that the players have at playing at this time, it's been another scorching day where the heat rule has been in effect throughout the day. But of course this evening, around 28 degrees now, but still pretty high humidity. It tends to slow the ball up. And we know Boskova's pretty tough to hit past. So is that going to favor the Czech against the world number 2?
I think that could have an added benefit because you were bringing up the surface, who it would sort of suit a little bit more. I mean, Swiatek has a little bit more firepower, which could help on the hard courts. But you're right, the humidity slows things down quite a bit. The balls get a little fluffier, heavier, so it's harder to really execute and hit a lot of winners. So the rallies could be longer because of the humidity.
We're also going to have a little look-see here. As I said, 70 unforced errors she made against Emma Navarro in Beijing. Talked about being a little tired come the end of the year. So let's see how fresh Iga Swiatek is here, playing in Wuhan for the first time, and it will be the second seed to get us underway. Jill Krebus and myself, Pete Rogers, to talk you through it.
Out. 15 left. 15.
It's quality overhead from Świątek, and as we say, challenge for her today is the ball's going to keep coming back, and that balance between the aggression and conservative nature, how positive will she be? Early signs pretty good here, Jill.
Yeah, pretty good. Yes, I would definitely agree. And I'm thinking back to when they previously played last year, of course, Roland Garros at clay. We mentioned completely different surface. That's very good from Świątek. But when I think about that match on a clay in particular, I feel like the points would be even longer. You have to work the point. You really have to figure out how to construct the point to the best of your ability. In a hard court, you can get away with striking through the ball a little bit more pace, and that's where I feel like that might give the edge to Świątek. As good as she is on the clay,
yeah,
we know that, but still, I think these surface would help her a little bit.
Thought that was a winner, didn't she? Was on her way to change ends there. Fault called. Of course, we know that Bouzkova historically generally likes a quicker surface, certainly a lower bouncing court, that's for sure, as in former Wimbledon quarter-finalist back in 2022. Made the last 16 the following year after that, and for those that watched her match against Sabalenka this year, it was a really high quality encounter. Serving her way through the game. In the end, Świątek, it's a solid start for the world number 2. As I mentioned, has been speaking about how tough it is on tour these days with the amount of tournaments and how tired she has felt and trying to manage it. But she will be at the WTA finals in Riyadh, no doubt about that. We've got some big names making it through. Of course, Madison Keys already qualified, having won the Australian Open, and that's a recent thing because it was a question of how far she would fall. So really, it's a race. It looks like it's between Rybakina and Paolini, but we know in other years, particularly the Caroline Garcia year, players can come from deep and sneak in at the last moment.
Yeah, it came down to the Asia swing for Caroline Garcia, where she just swept. I think she won back-to-back.
Back-to-back, won Beijing and Wuhan.
And Wuhan, that's right, too.
I mean, Johanna Konta, I remember not playing, I think, in Wuhan, thinking, well, I've probably done enough, because you can't imagine Garcia's going to win back-to-back. But
and she did it.
Won,
she played
back to back.
Insane.
Of course, we have an evening session here in Wuhan. Player who's trying to get in that WTA finals mix, Mira Andreeva, take on Laura Siegmund following this one. She's so well balanced, isn't she, when she's on the move, Świątek?
Yeah, I think Bouzkova was surprised there, actually, how quickly Świątek picked up this ball, picked it up on the rise. You could see Bouzkova coming in. She just got stuck, never got herself balanced in time, just because how quickly it came back to her side of the court.
15.
Swats that one away, and we talked about performance against Emma Navarro where she would have been a little disappointed, where Navarro did a great job of just making Swiatek play one or two extra balls. That led to a lot of unforced errors. Do you feel during the Asian swing, I have to say that people doing the stats who do a great job overall, maybe counting the unforced errors a little high, so maybe the 70 was a little harsh on Swiatek, but so far dialed in the open exchanges here. A couple of break points. And a super return. And she's raced out of the blocks. Iga Swiatek not needing any time to acclimatise to playing on a new court for a first time in her career. 2-love lead.
She was really on top of the ball already, just to try and send that message at the beginning on the Boskova serve, because Boskova, I feel like, can serve very well, can get her out of trouble. We could see Swiatek just giving Boskova no time off of those returns.
So strong in all of the big events.
Almost she went too fast. Didn't quite finish that approach shot before charging forward.
We saw that graphic just flash up in terms of how many matches she's won in the WTA 1000 tournaments. It's only the one tournament win in 1000s this year, Cincinnati. But consistently going deep, Swiatek. But even when she was winning 4 a year, which she did in both 2022 and 2024, she was talking about, you know, how tough it is to stay at the top, and you can't think you're going to win every match. Trying to put things into perspective all the time. In terms of her goals, is the next big one to try and win the Australian Open, just to complete the set?
Complete them, yes, for sure. That's definitely would be on her mind. I think the WTA finals coming up, of course, is a big one at the end of the year. And you mentioned it earlier about managing that schedule. It's so tough. We always talk about how tough this time of year is because the calendar year is so long. You have to try and find pockets during the year to make sure you get that rest and recovery. But I just recently read what Swiatek made a great comment about what you said, that you can't expect yourself to win all the time. And I think for her, learning to accept that, because as we know, a couple years ago, she went on that huge winning streak where it was just finding a way of tough to beat. She won a lot of 6-love sets. I mean, players were not finding a way through her for some time.
And I thought she was wise come the end of that year. I remember reading her sort of saying, look, players are going to work you out, and
yeah, exactly,
and they're going to catch you up. She's not going to be winning 6-love all the time. Yeah. And that has happened.
And when someone has that streak like that and just they raise the bar, right? And now it's tougher. Everyone, right, is understanding how she plays, and so the competition just keeps getting better and better.
This has been a mightily impressive start, though, for Świątek. Used the words dialed in a few moments ago, and that is certainly the case. Stingy start. Backs up the break for a 3-love lead first set.
But if you spend 12 seconds there, it's going to be short to get back. Yeah, no, so if you spend 12 seconds there, like last week, just get 2 balls, and that will help you. Just a classic Iga Świątek point, isn't it? Suffocating her opponent, just going side to side to the open spaces, and really nothing Bouzkova could do.
I was actually watching just her footwork on the other side of the court and how quickly she gets up to the ball. And that's why she's right now able to keep Bouzkova more on the defense in these rallies.
I mean, we talked about it during the warm-up that Bouzkova, you were suggesting, needed to be more positive, try and get on the front foot. We know she's an excellent volleyer. She's very good in the forecourt, very good doubles player. Hasn't been allowed to get up the court at all.
No, I almost feel like a couple times off the serve, she's looked surprised how quickly the ball is on her. She just doesn't seem ready for it, and that has a lot to do with Świątek just going after it. I like that, taking it out of the air. That's just going to give Świątek less time to get balanced, to get settled. But the placement on Bouzkova's serve has got to be very good today, because the way Świątek is all over the return right now, I think Bouzkova's going to have to mix it up, try and surprise Świątek, maybe sometimes going into the body.
That's absolute class from Świątek. I mean, once Bouzkova starts the point and isn't at the net, she's almost in trouble right now.
Yes, Świątek just returning so well. I mean, taking the return right out of the center of the court, getting Bouzkova off balance.
Because almost always got to feel Świątek when she has a relatively early loss the week before. Means she's got that little bit more time to prepare for a tournament. Might be a bit fresher, and that certainly looks to be the case so far. Just showing she's human there. Finally missing a finishing ball.
But the errors that she's making is because she's so fast up to the ball. I mean, that's her intention. You know, she wants to take time away from Bouzkova. She wants to be the more aggressive player. And the couple times she's made the error, it's because she's gone up so fast to the ball. She's actually jammed herself. But you don't want to take that away. I mean, it's working for her. She still wants to have that aggressive position.
Oh, she's just found the line there. And what's been so impressive here, I mean, so often when we watch Bouzkova talk about her amazing ability to hang in points and to extend rallies, she just hasn't been allowed to do that today. So far, anyway. Another break point for the Pole. You know what a fighter Bouzkova is. That's that amazing ability just to hang in there, hang tough, to make life difficult for opponents. I mean, we have so much data and statistics. I would like to know the amount of players that cause other players to smash rackets. I think Bouzkova would be right up there in that category.
Oh, gosh. Should we add that to the stats? I've never heard that. It's funny.
Just purely because she's got that amazing
Relentless.
ability, isn't she? Just to hang in. Doesn't matter what the score is. Amount of time she can keep getting those balls back, and often leads to opponents then making errors, which is then of great frustration to them. Well, didn't need to play the final volley, but if in doubt, play it out. And another quality point from Iga Świątek.
I like to see her coming forward, too. And another area of her game that she's trying to incorporate more. You can see throughout the last part of this year, the last couple months, you can see actually her volley starting to develop a little bit. She's getting some nicer touch on the volley. It's good to see. That was very good second serve. Put a little bit extra topspin on that because you really jump up on Świątek. Those high ones, especially on the backhand side of a two-handed backhand, it's tough to control.
fearing the return of that second serve and just overcooking it there, Bouzkova. First double. Another chance for Świątek to try and break again. Again, just manoeuvring Bouzkova around the court. And it is another break. Although, I think, amazingly, she's forgotten the scoreboard there, Świątek. I said she was dialed in. She's dialed in the zone, but maybe forgetting it's 4-love and not 4-1. It was a long game, Iga, so we can forgive her.
Yeah.
I always also talk about Billie Jean King, about how she used to convince herself she was 4-1 down or 5-2 down all the time. So she said she always, quite often, didn't know the score, the actual score, because she was so good at being an actress and tricking the brain. So maybe that's what Świątek was doing there.
But it's interesting that worked for Billie Jean King, because there are quite a few examples of players that start to play a little bit looser and freer when they're down in the score. I actually know a lot of people that tried to pretend that they were down in the first set and to come back. It can work. It's not for everybody, but it can work.
What were you? Did you free up when you were winning?
I did.
When you were winning, okay.
No, no. Well, it depends what kind of state I was in. But a lot of times I would play better when I was down.
I think it takes the pressure off, right?
It's hard to do, though. I mean it's hard to trick their brain because you just see the score on the scoreboard.
It's a slight oxymoron from Billie, isn't it? Pressure is a privilege, which is totally true. But again, she takes the pressure off herself by tricking the brain.
There you go.
Yeah, we're always saying you've got to be a good actor or actress if you want to be a great in tennis.
It's a good stab on the return there from Bouzkova. Well, I think the biggest thing that the top players do so well is they come to an understanding that they don't always have to play out of their shoes to win matches. I think sometimes they know that they can find a way to win if they're playing even 60 to 70% of their capacity, and I think they've learned that. I think they understand that.
Pick up from Bouzkova. Just asking one extra question.
It was good that she closed the net there. I think it just made Świątek think about that pass a little bit more. It created a much smaller space. The opening didn't look as big for Świątek. She's handling the forecourt very well right now. Świątek, anything short, I just feel like she's put away right now. Bouzkova is having a little difficulty reading which direction on the forehand that Świątek's going to hit.
This time Bouzkova getting Świątek on the move. It hasn't happened all that often in the opening exchanges. A little wild. And Bouzkova on the board. The fans want to see a little more of this match and certainly want to see a bit more of a contest, and it's a good response from the Czech. Been a little late for her to get on the board, but she's on the board nonetheless.
The blue one?
It doesn't matter.
We've got a great stats team that work very hard behind us, and they're just throwing us some great stats on Iga Świątek in particular. I mean, it's astounding what she's doing. I mean, mentioned that 70 unforced errors against Emma Navarro. By the way, that's the second highest unforced error count that she's had at a WTA 1000 match. So far, we've certainly seen a reaction. She has hit 11 unforced errors in this one, but goes with 11 winners. Bouzkova, though, on the board now. We'll be hoping to try and hold serve for the first time. 1-4. But the other astounding stat is that Świątek's looking for a 60th win today. That's a 60th win this season. And she'd be the first player to achieve that since Martina Hingis and Lindsay Davenport both did it in 2001. So it's been a long time since a player has been able to achieve consecutive 4 years in a row 60-win seasons. And what's mad about that is that we were talking about it being a down year for her for the first 6 months.
That's actually exactly what I was thinking. But this would be her fourth consecutive year, is what you said.
Yeah. So, but yet to reach 60, and how rare that is to reach 60.
That's where my thought exactly went to. And like we were just talking, but even we were talking about because she hadn't had a title right until she won Wimbledon.
Yeah.
But she had still had consistent results.
And that was what she was saying. She's saying consistently making the semis of these big tournaments. And on that, talking about her consistency, I mean, she hasn't lost a first round of a WTA level tournament 68 times. She's won her opening round.
Wow.
Opening round. I have to go back to 2021 at the WTA finals. She lost to Maria Sakkari. And what's even more mad about that is that I feel this year in particular, talking more and more about the depth of the women's game and how strong it is. So to do that in this era, every time she rocks up to a tournament, preparation is clearly there, and to be ready.
Well, you were asking me earlier about, maybe what had changed, and we were talking about she could have been working on some new things with Wim Fissette and trying to incorporate those into matches. It doesn't always come smoothly from the beginning. But again, I think she understands that. I think she embraces those small challenges. I think she's always been good at that in her career, and she's okay if it doesn't happen immediately. She's willing to, we were talking about process yesterday, she's willing to, dive into that process, have enough patience to let it come naturally. But she's one of the most intense players. She puts in the work every single day.
used a word there that I just wonder whether that's why we perhaps see her, because it's not the first time she's talked about the tour being draining, being tiring, intense. She's a very intense player. And I just wonder, it maybe takes more out of her, the longer events, the 2-week 1000s.
It could. I think
others.
it's just so ingrained in her personality that I don't know. I think she's probably used to it by now. I think by this stage, I think a lot of players get tired. You just put, it's a lot. It's just a long schedule.
Oh, she found the line that she has.
A couple second serves that Swiatek got from Bouzkova to her advantage. Now is another break point.
I think Bouzkova couldn't quite believe that shot. Found the line, but there you go, proof of it. And a chance to break the Czech serve once again. So good. Getting up the court. Something we saw at Wimbledon, of course, this year. Finishing the job at the net in superb fashion. So breaks for a third time and will now serve for the set at 5-1.
Oh, what I liked about that, too, was she didn't try and overplay that last volley. She was happy to just hit it short in the court. Didn't try and do too much. She still actually gave Bouzkova a chance here on this volley because didn't quite maybe get the angle she wanted, but it just shows another level of trust that she's starting to get more of at the net. She feels like now she can cover that next ball, even if her first volley isn't the initial winner.
Fine for Bouzkova. Yeah, I mean, I was saying to you about words that often come up in tennis commentary: balance, acceptance, discipline being the other one. But I think the point you were just making there, I think, shows great discipline from Swiatek, because I think so many players, when they play Bouzkova, think she is unbelievable at getting balls back, and so they try and overplay a lot of the time, trying to go right to that line, and that's what leads to then unforced errors. It just feels like this has been a really disciplined performance, though, from Swiatek, as in trusting herself, not overplaying on the volley, saying, okay, that'll be enough. If Bouzkova comes up with a ridiculous shot, fair play, but I'm going to make her try and do that time and time again. First double for Swiatek. Incidentally, just to make a slight correction, what I said earlier, if she was to win this match, Swiatek, which looks like at the moment, this would be her 68th win. Got ahead of myself. Can't do that with the opening rounds. It's easy to get lost in the numbers, though, with the poll, because so many of them are, frankly, ridiculous. So good once again from Świątek.
Just so fast. I mean, Bouzkova was still recovering from that defensive play, and already Świątek was hitting the short ball. That's how quickly she was able to transition up to that short ball from Bouzkova.
Well, that's one to make all club tennis players feel a little better.
Yeah, just mistimed that. That's all. I think she just looked like she maybe let the toss drop a little too much.
Can happen to the best of them. Second double in the game for Świątek, and Bouzkova with the chance to just elongate this first set a little longer. I don't think she was fully sure of it. Stayed watching, but it did find the line.
She has so much rotation on that forehand side that it really can just take a dip at the very last moment.
Just dominating the point. And the worrying thing, even more worrying than the scoreline already for Bouzkova, is that when Świątek takes the first set in a WTA 1000 event, she's 106-0.
Wow. Gosh.
And 99 of those have been straight sets. And what a way to finish. Kind of sums up the set for Iga Świątek. So accurate with her ball strike. A dominant performance. Talked about a reaction after an error-strewn matchup against Emma Navarro in Beijing. Looking right back to the great player that she is. Takes the opening set 6-1.
That was an absolute amazing performance from Świątek in that first set. I mean, just all the numbers are going to be in her favor. Yeah, she might have some more on first errors, but has so many winners, 18, only 2 from Bouzkova. Bouzkova just hasn't had that many opportunities to be able to get up inside the court to cause issues for Świątek. Also, a lot of break points, opportunities. Świątek converting half of those. That puts another layer of added pressure on Bouzkova in that first set.
So we talked a little bit earlier on, if you weren't with us, about Billie Jean King and how she used to trick her brain, that she was 2-5 down or 1-4 down in sets. When you look at the numbers of Iga Swiatek when she wins the first set, undefeated at WTA 1000 level, 106 wins, 99 in straight sets. Do you think she tells herself when she's losing that, no, actually, you're a set up? We get
she should. She should.
She does it the other way round.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Incidentally, since the format of the WTA 1000 events, no one has been undefeated when winning the first set, and she's the only player.
That is incredible. That is an incredible number, an unbelievable stat. And to reiterate, 99 have been in straight sets.
And as I say, this is why these numbers, you know, looking for a 68th consecutive opening round win on the WTA Tour.
She looks even faster to me off that first step on the return. Because I think Bouzkova is trying to incorporate that body serve, and it's a good option to choose when you see your opponent have such an aggressive stance on the baseline, but it just hasn't worked because Swiatek's been so fast to get away from the ball.
As far as Bouzkova is concerned, you hope she's not aware of those numbers for Swiatek. I'm sure we all know what a great front runner the pole is, but I think when you see those numbers, it surprises a few just how good she is when she wins the first set. But what's she got to do here? What solution can she come up with?
Well, this is exactly, I'm sure on the changeover, she was thinking, that's exactly what you start to think about. What little adjustments can I make? I don't think she's serving as well as I'm used to seeing. I think she's not getting enough first serves in play, so she already feels like she's on her back foot when she's throwing in a lot of second serves, so I think her first serve percentage needs to increase. And I think also at the end of that first set, I did notice that she was more up on the baseline. In the beginning of the first set, she was a lot further back. And so that was good to see, like in the last two games. So I think she needs to just stay up on that baseline no matter how quickly the ball is coming at her. That was better. She was actually a couple feet inside the baseline.
And this is why Swiatek's so tough to play against, though, right? Because of the heaviness of particularly the forehand, how it fizzes up off the surface to then try and take that early and be on top of the baseline, even tougher against the pole. Oh, it's wondrous from Iga Swiatek. I thought the pass couldn't really have been any better from Bouzkova, but Swiatek read it, and not only read it, played a lovely, delicate touch volley.
Yeah, I thought it was a good choice, trying to go for the off pace, trying to dip it away from Swiatek. But she stayed with that volley well. She kept that momentum forward. Nice touch with the racket. She's trusting herself more up there.
Still yet to hold serve, Bouzkova. So much of that has been about the quality of return from Swiatek, but as you were saying, Jill, has to try and up that level, Bouzkova, to have any chance of turning this match around and doing something no one has ever done before at a WTA 1000 event, and that's beat Iga Swiatek from a set down. What makes her such a good front runner for you? We always talk about, I often use words like suffocating branded tennis, and then when you have that, I imagine, do you just constantly feel that? Is the relentlessness of it?
As the opponent?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you do. You kind of feel like the ball is on top of you so fast and so quickly and heavy. But I think the reason she's such a good front runner is a word we mentioned earlier, the intensity she brings. You rarely see her intensity drop. And if you're feeling that on the other side of the court, yeah, you're feeling the weight of her ball, but that intensity that she brings can be even more of a factor.
Look, all tennis players like time on the ball, right? So when you played, and famous win over Serena Williams at Wimbledon, love bringing that up. You know, obviously there would have been times where you're being forced on the back foot there.
Yeah, you have to force yourself up.
So are you constantly saying, no, come on, get up to the baseline?
And it can, yes, and it can feel, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It does feel uncomfortable, but you have to force yourself to do it.
So right now, is that what Bouzkova will be saying? Come on,
I think that's part of it.
Get closer to the baseline.
Yeah.
Take the ball earlier.
I think so, because I saw it at her do it at the end of the first set in the last couple games. But it's still easier said than done, because because Swiatek is making her uncomfortable. So you have to force yourself to think differently. Just go up. It's not gonna feel great at first. But I think she's trying.
That's why it's such a fascinating sport from a psychological point of view, because you've got that as in make yourself feel even more uncomfortable, which is actually going to help. But so you're battling that in the mind. Yeah. I often talk about racket head speed. You need to swing faster to get the control on topspin, which is also something you don't do in life outside. Go faster for safety. I don't think there's any other things you can do.
That I can think of.
That you can think of, yeah.
There might be, just maybe not when I'm put on the spot.
But again, it's like an oxymoron.
Yeah, it is.
Psychological battle.
It is, yeah. Yeah, because when you get nervous, the first thing you want to do is kind of hesitate, but you have to do the opposite. She's hitting the spots on the serve really well, especially on the ad side, that down the tee serve. It's so consistently in that corner. She's been going to it at big moments as well. Down 15-30 at that point. Great put away. That's a good example there. Bouzkova desperately trying to get on top of that heavy kick serve, trying to take it early. But it's so difficult to time when it has that good heavy topspin.
I feel a little for Bouzkova, the fact that we've had 8 games, she's only got 1 on the board. We've had a lot of juice games. All the games have been tight, but vast majority of them going to the player in your picture. Did well to get the serve back, but the problem right now, once you get the serve back, you've then got another problem on top of that. All the big points going Świątek's way in this one. Backs up the break again. It's a 2-love lead, second set. Of course, this time of year, so many players chasing ranking goals. Still could catch Sabalenka for the end-of-year world #1 spot, but it's a fair way behind. About 1,500 points. If she was to win this tournament and an early exit for Sabalenka, then it would make things that much more interesting. The WTA finals. Yeah, so Thomas Sweeney in the chair. So for whatever reason, the machine didn't go off, but it was long. You'd see as Świątek hit the return, was sort of saying, how's that not been called?
She hesitated, yeah. But then I think when she saw she was in control of the point, she's like, no, wait, let's keep playing. But it did look long. Oh, I think, yeah, asking just second serve.
Yeah, so it will be a second serve. I think. Yeah. On the board in set 2, Boskova. Iga Świątek, ever the perfectionist, not happy with letting that point and that game slip away. Well, number 2 still in control of this one, up a set and a break. again, a bit of an issue with the system. So she's been so clinical at the front of the court today, Świątek. Every time she's inside the baseline, it's pretty much job done.
Showing great hands in that rally with that short ball, because it's trickier than it looks. It stayed really low. She still wanted to get aggressive, but she held the backswing, just a nice flick of the wrist to create the angle.
To tweak the serve this year. At the moment, today, reaping the rewards. Of course, was a big change last year with the serve, the abbreviated action. Picking up a fair few cheap points today, particularly big points in the games. And another solid game for Świątek. Talked about tweaking that serve recently. What's the next step for Świątek? Where's the area of improvement you see that she might want to tweak and play with?
Well, I think it's been actually apparent in this match is how well she's been able to place the ball, and I think like the targets, and I think that's something that's definitely improved. Is she's been able to hit her spots a lot better. I think, you know, in her spots, when I'm talking about, they're closer to the line, they're in the corners of the service box. It's just so good. And I mean, if you compare it to how Boskova is serving, she's just not quite getting the ball away, or able to get it away from Świątek as much.
So what I meant with that question was, the next step.
The next step after that? Oh,
no,
sorry.
no, just from a broader look scope, not just this match, in terms of where will she target next to improve in her own game? I know that's a tough question.
In her overall game.
In her overall game.
That's a good try from Bouzkova. To answer your question, I think definitely the forecourt, the net game. I mean, I think you were already seeing it.
Yeah.
She's already being a little bit more gutsy to get up there, to take the chance to move to the net. We've seen some good control on the volleys already, and I think she'll look to incorporate that more going forward.
Yeah, incidentally, the net game today, 8 from 8 when she's got up the court. I said it earlier, clinical.
And that's also because her approach shots have been so strong. She's being smart about when the right moment is to come in.
Following her idol even more. Of course, big Rafa Nadal fan, and his statistics at the net were ridiculous. Much of that due to the immense approach shot.
It's one of the few times we've seen Bouzkova hit that second serve to the forehand side. I mean, Swiatek's forehand has been pretty dominant today, so you can understand why she would avoid that side, but in that moment just caught Swiatek slightly off guard.
That's exactly the point you were making, how accurate she has been from the back of the court. We know Wim Fissette is an analytics coach. He will have all the data on where her balls have gone today. And I bet you it makes quite a pretty pattern as far as he's concerned reading it. 2 more break points for the second seed. A big reaction from Swiatek. This is where you were talking about her intensity. It never drops. Staying dialed in, even though she's in complete control as she strengthens her grip on this encounter. Another break and a 4-1 lead second set.
Time.
So looking very good, as ever. Would be a 100th straight sets win for Iga Swiatek. It's a tier 1 level event, WTA 1000s. Not all that far away from doing that. And a really good start to the game. the third player since the inception of the tier format in 1990 to have 100+ straight sets wins in the event before turning 25. So Hingis and Azarenka, the only two to have achieved that feat. To achieve the feat before 25, you've got to remind yourself still how young Świątek is. All the winning she's done. And once again, just hitting winners for fun in this one. It's winner number 29 for the poll. Watched it closely. Bouzkova's ball landed on the line, skidding low, but once again, the preparation, the concentration, so good from Świątek.
And also the constant shot selection that she has. I mean, she's not really showing Bouzkova a very predictable pattern. She's always changing it up and always hitting to the open court, moving Bouzkova around constantly.
Right into the corner. 4 points, 4 winners. Now 5 games on the board for Iga Świątek.
Well, her footwork is so good that she's always been good at taking those little adjustment steps just to make sure she's in good position, and that's why she can change direction so accurately.
Came away from a place in round 3 in Wuhan.
That was a good example of what I was talking about. I mean, she could have easily taken that down the line because she had so much time. And it's just difficult to know where she's going to go right now because she's hitting all her spots well.
I mean, she's taken away the big thing with Bouzkova's game, which we were talking about before, is her movement, her ability to hang in the point. And at the moment, not even being able to hang in the point for 2 or 3 shots. And watching her against Paolini last week in Beijing, as in she was extending all of the points. The rallies were dramatic and long. But with Świątek, she just doesn't seem to have a read, as you say, on where the world number 2 is going. And as I say, you have to remember that Bouzkova coming into this match in form. In the last 16 in Beijing, really good win over Osorio in straight sets to book this meeting with Świątek.
You saw right there Bouzkova trying to attempt a couple serve volleys, so she's still trying to somehow crack Świątek with some different play, but gotta get the first serve in for it to work. And even Bouzkova's reaction there, she knows that, that is hurting her right now, not getting those first serves into play.
First serve percentage throughout the match, 60%, but a struggle when she's missed it. She's actually struggled even when she's made the first serve as well, though Swiatek's level has been that high. And that will make her feel somewhat better. Something a little different from Bouzkova. Anything mid-court, wouldn't even class it as short, has just been gobbled up by Swiatek today. 34 winners, just 22 unforced errors, and always feel that unforced error count, as I said earlier on. Feels like they're being marked quite harshly in Beijing and Wuhan. So those are fabulous numbers. I mean, Bouzkova's only made 6 unforced errors herself. She's just seen the ball go past her time and time and time again. And the 35th winner for Iga Swiatek brings up a match point. Oh, just showing she's human.
I think this is only the second mid-court ball she's missed all night. Maybe you might have seen Bouzkova making that move in that direction. Just got a little distracted.
About how good she's been up the court, Swiatek, but from the corner, just when Bouzkova will be thinking, I've got my opponent on the stretch, still, Swiatek finds the baseline from that position. That's why she's one of the greats of the sport. I mean, what do you do against her? Especially when she's in this sort of mood. Second match point for the world number 2. Well, there are a few question marks coming into this one for Iga Swiatek. How would she respond after the disappointing loss in Beijing with all those unforced errors? And how would she fare playing for the first time in Wuhan? But as she so often does, answers those questions emphatically in the right way. Another sensational performance from the world number 2. And moves through to round 3 here. It's her 100th straight sets victory at WTA 1000 level, all before she's 25. Wins 6-1, 6-1.
I mean, really just clinical performance from Swiatek. She's definitely got to be pleased with that, coming in here for making her debut here at Wuhan, playing a player with incredible ability to frustrate her opponents with her consistency, her movement, and Swiatek just took her game away from her. Didn't allow her to get into those long rallies. I said from the start, she was just so on top of the baseline, rushing Boskova from the beginning and didn't back down. She just kept that up the entire match, and it was tough for Boskova to get her foot in the door in that match.
Well, I said at the start, she walked out smiling as she came out onto the center court. I said, would she be smiling by the end of the match? She is. So credit to her, as in, you know, that's a lovely attitude to have. I mean, and I suppose she will just say, I was up against one of the greats today.
I think she'll understand that Swiatek was just on today. I mean, she was feeling it. You could tell she just was moving her around the court the entire time. I agree. I think Boskova always has that good attitude. She's one of the best, I feel like, at willing to like assess this and let it go pretty quickly. She doesn't let losses linger, which is a huge asset to have. But Swiatek, just too good.
All right, Iga, congratulations for your very first win at the center court of Wuhan Open. So let's start with your forwards. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, for sure it's nice to play in a city that I've never been to. So for sure it's something new, and yeah, I really appreciate that, because with the repetition on the tour, you know, I'm really happy to be here in Wuhan and get to know the city. So yeah, happy with the performance as well.
很感谢大家的支持，因为这场赛事对于斯瓦泰克来讲，这是全新的一个体验。他之前就知道武汉网球公开赛非常的棒，所以很高兴能够来到武汉，在大家的面前展现他的球技。They cheer with you. Right. You coming from a cooler condition in Beijing last week, so you know that the weather right here, the temperature right here is really hot. How you make your adjustment to get ready to play such a level in tennis?
Well, honestly, I feel like it's getting hotter in different places over the year. So I already experienced that, you know, for example, in Cincinnati this year. So I'm just trying to, yeah, use my experience, recover well between the points, and just spend all my energy on having the best quality possible. But for sure, it's a challenge, and well, I'm happy I didn't play yesterday, because it was, I think, you know, too much for most of players. So I just hope we will, you know, our matches will be scheduled in a time. I mean, on center court, I think it's a little bit cooler because of the air conditioning and everything. But I hope the other matches will be scheduled in a time where girls can really, like, you know, compete, you know, rather than just die on the court. So, yeah, sorry, too long of an answer. I'll let you translate.
Okay, thank you. 也是说到，因为上周的斯瓦泰克比赛的条件是相对凉爽一点，但是来到武汉，大家知道我们武汉的天气相当炎热。他说到，整年全年下来打巡回赛，他们会去到不同的地方，他也会遇到很炎热的天气。比如说今年在辛辛那提的时候，就会有非常炎热的天气发生。但是他尝试运用自己的经历，运用自己的经验，为自己很好的去化解掉这些客观的条件可能会对自己在比赛当中成绩或者是最后的结果产生的影响。但当然，他也说自己很庆幸没有在昨天打比赛，因为昨天的气温实在是太热了，所以他说可能对于其他球员来说非常的艰难。但是他说来到中央球场感觉还是相当不错，因为这里可能凉爽一点，自己的表现也会更好一点。All right, so one last question, Iga. This is your very first match in center court of Wuhan Open. See what? So many of your friends right here, they follow you a lot. So last question to your fans, please.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming. And, you know, I already saw in Beijing how amazing the Chinese fans are. So thank you for supporting me. It's really great, and I really appreciate that. I think we all need a little bit of, you know, pumping up at the end of the season. So I'm really happy to have you, and hopefully you'll come on my next matches.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Iga Swiatek.
Yeah, talking about the heat that the other players have been playing in. That's nice to hear as well. Trying to look out for the other players here. Iga Swiatek. It's been another very hot day in Wuhan, which isn't always the case here this time of year, but that's what they've had to deal with. Of course, a little easier playing in an air-conditioned stadium, but also playing late at night. But as we were saying throughout the commentary, I mean, the numbers for her are ridiculous. 107-0 now when she's won the first set in WTA 1000 tournaments. 68th opening round win straight WTA tournaments. Which one out of those do you think is most ridiculous?
Both are absolutely ridiculous. The one that hits me is 107-0. Every time she wins the first set, she just doesn't lose the match at a WTA 1000.
And 100 of those a straight sets wins. So even winning a set, the second set off, it's so rare.
Yeah.
I'm more with the 68.
Yeah.
Because I just think,
well, they're both ridiculous.
You know, you've got surely you have enough off day, or you get to a tournament and things have gone wrong, your baggage doesn't arrive. You know, there's got to be at some point.
Well, you would also think that
the depth of the sport now is just so high. The level's so good in these opening rounds.
I feel like you can also use that argument after winning the first set.
Yeah.
Surely, I mean, you might have a match where you're just like, I don't know. You could argue it both ways for both of them.
She's found a formula, right, from when she's winning, and that intensity, and she dials in, and
thank you.
We need to turn a phrase, don't we? Getting eagered or.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean something like that. As in, she needs to earn something with those numbers. Anyway, there we go.
We were talking about numbers the entire match, and these numbers were ridiculous too. I think the winners 35, just 3 from Bouzkova. She just couldn't get on top of so many of these points. It had a lot to do with how well Swiatek came out firing in the beginning. Was very good at the net too. That's a area that we don't see her very often. Almost winning 100% of those points. And I think Bouzkova, the serve hurt her as well, 61%. That number needed to be higher. But Swiatek has gone through.
Yeah,
this is where she stands in the draw.
She has indeed, exactly that, because she has won a second round match. This evening's session are the second round matches. We've got Mira Andreeva against Laura Siegemund to come up, but Swiatek will play the winner of Bencic and Mertens, who will play tomorrow. So she can put her feet up and watch them may well play in the baking heat. Although we do hope it's cooler tomorrow. But don't go anywhere too far, because Mira Andreeva against Laura Siegemund is up next. And that is also a crucial match when it comes to the race for the WTA finals in Riyadh, because Andreeva is at 7th at the moment. Of course, could be caught by the likes of Alexandra and Paolini. So a big matchup for her, and that's up next.